What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is going to be a review for P-Valley Season 2, Episode 3. So, we start this episode off. We got Roulette in the Boom Boom Room with doing a private dance with a man with a whole lot of money. He wants her to take her mask off, so he pays extra for her to take the mask off. And then once she takes the mask off, she is butterball naked, okay? And of course now he wants a sexual favor with those lips. And she tells him, listen, I can't do that. You know, that's Uncle Clifford rule number 4. I can't be home until down to the pink or I'm going to be out the door. And he was like, well, I guess we'll be out the door together. And she was like, yeah, okay. She said, but I'll do it for a brick. And of course he got the brick, and she moves, she knows where the camera is, and she moves the chair to position it in a place where the camera can't see her, and then she does the do. And that just goes to show you like where we're missing certain elements from last season, because last season, while Diamond was working security, I believe Big Ed was the one on the cameras. And Big Ed would have seen something like that going down, and they would have been in there. Because, you remember a couple of times last year when there was problems in the Boom Boom Room, somebody was on top of it and was able to handle it before it got out of hand. Remember, Diamond was on top of it. So, you definitely see that there are some cracks down to the paint, and Roulette is getting in where she fit in, okay? Now, while that's going on, Mercedes is not making any money. Between her arm injury and just the new girls, she just ain't making the money. And, of course, she's frustrated because, she can't get the gym together and, all of this stuff. So, she actually ends up taking Coach up on his offer. We see her calling Coach and talking to him about how hard things are and asking him, listen, you still willing to pay for that Mercedes experience? And he was like, hell yeah, my offer stands. She said, okay, well, I'm going to take you up on your offer, but your wife got to be in the loop. Like, I'm not going to do this behind her back. And he was like, well, she know. She was like, that's fine, but I need to meet her. So he was like, all right, cool. We'll make it happen. Now, down to Patrice, Reverend Patrice church where the blessings reside. She's giving away her, giving away her food boxes and everything. And who rolls up is Miss Jerica to get a food box. And, of course, she asked for 2 boxes. She said, I know that we're only allowed to get 1 box, but I'm picking up a box for my neighbor. Can I get 2 boxes? So the lady that was helping her calls Patrice over. And, of course, Jerica's like, no, that's okay. I don't need to talk to her. And but she calls her over anyway. And she said, Jerica, what you doing here? And she said, well, I'm just here to pick up, a box. And she was like, well, where your mama? And she was like, oh, she at work, And she said, well, what you mean you need 2 boxes? She said, well, I'm getting one for my neighbor. And she was like, you know what, you and your mama got something in common, because both of y'all, I can tell when y'all lying. So she knows that Jerica's lying. And she actually ends up giving her 4 boxes. Like, basically, I know you lying, but clearly you here because you need it. So here go 4 boxes of food, But grandma ain't food, okay? Now, while all of this is going on, Baby Murder and his crew are on tour. They done scared. They at a convenience store, and they done scared the poor white lady behind the counter to death, because of course they got on these red handkerchiefs, instead of masks, these red bandanas, looking like some hoods coming up in the store. And of course she's assuming that they coming in there to rob her. She was actually getting ready to call the police on them, until she sort of got distracted, and then they ended up paying for their food and everything. And we see that Murder is getting a postcard, which that connects later. But they are on tour and they are doing the damn thing, right? They're going city to city. It's going well. We see them down the Big Frida spot. So, shout out to Big Frida for making a cameo. They doing photo shoots in front of the hearse and out on the road, and of course they're playing up this whole couple thing, because remember, that was what the whole thing was last year. Everybody thought they were a couple. They were together. So they planned it up, in these pictures. And Mississippi is a little nervous about the pictures being posted to Instagram. But, she convinces herself that her husband ain't going to see, or boyfriend, whoever, he ain't going to see it. But, of course, yeah. So they got that going on the road. Uncle Clifford, of course, is following their every move. down to, his Instagram. He Instagram stalking them, back down to the Pink. And him and Haley once again are arguing about, how things are running down to the Pink and who's doing what, and they're trying to figure out how they're gonna replace the people that they don't have. Like, they still trying to, plug in holes. Now Mercedes is gonna be, doing her thing for a minute. They still don't have a DJ. So the new chick that Haley had hired to work the bar, that couldn't work a pole, but she got to work in the bar. She was like, I can DJ. She said, I know how to DJ. And, Uncle Clifford was like, well, I guess you can't be no worse than Big L and his playlist, so, we'll see what you can do. We'll see how you can handle it. So her and Uncle Clifford get to talking about the money, the money that they're being offered. And she tells Uncle Clifford, listen, if they come through here with 10 mil, it is what it is. And she said, your cut after your cut will be $3 million. And he said, you would really think about selling? She was like, why not? He said, what about the girls? Like, I couldn't do that to the girls. She said, you don't owe them anything. Like, what are you talking about? Why? You don't owe them anything. And you will walk away with $3 million. Like, I think you'd be all right with $3 million in your pocket. So, of course, they know they're sitting on a gold mine. And basically, they're not, Haley's not stupid. She knows what's going on. They're trying to buy the Pink before the referendum on the casino goes through. Because if and when the referendum goes through, it's going to triple the value of the Pink. And they'll be able, and basically what they're offering them is a steal for what it'll be worth. And so they're basically gambling on the casino referendum. It's really a win-win situation. If it passes, they're going to make a lot of money. If it doesn't pass, they get to keep the business. I don't think Haley's all that concerned about keeping the business, though, but Uncle Clifford is. So, well, down to the annual pastor's fried chicken dinner. We got all the pastors together, and of course, the soon-to-be, wannabe mayor is down there, advocating for the casino and doing his little pitch. And of course, all of the pastors are like, yeah, we're here for it. We're going to support you. We support the initiative. But, Reverend Patrice is like, no, we not. Like, y'all can keep on listening to the white man and y'all keep on believing what he giving y'all. But at the end of the day, no, ma'am. Down to me and my church, we will not be supporting this Sodom and Gomorrah situation, okay? So yeah, y'all keep on listening to him. And of course you can see all of the guys, all the male pastors are giving her the side eye, but baby, she was serious about that thing. Like, nope, we're not letting this in, okay? Now we are back on the road with Lil Murda and Mississippi. And they are down to the club, and again, they doing their thing. They on social media, they getting ready to perform. Everything is great, everything is everything. But while they're there, old boy that him and Lil Murda don't mix, he shows up. And of course, security is noticing that he done switched teams. He not with their gang affiliation anymore. And he was like, hold up, what happened to old boy? Like, I thought he was with us. And he was like, nah, he done switched teams. So of course, immediately he not feeling him. Like, okay, now he done switched up on us. He done traded. He a trader. Okay, cool. Then he also keep making these little smart comments insinuating about Lil Murda's, sexual affiliation. Okay, he keep throwing these little innuendos out. So basically what ends up happening is they end up getting into a fight. The security and old boy end up getting into a fight. Of course, Mississippi's on social media. They get it all on, they get the fight on tape. They see her running and trying to hurry up and get in the hearse, and all of them taking off, running and everything. And of course, the girls down to the Pink are watching, and they're like, Mississippi always in something. She always find herself in some bull hockey, right? Now, while this is going on, Mercedes done made her way down to Coach's place, right? And she meet Coach's wife. And, of course, the wife is very cool, cool, calm, and collected. She look at her nose down at Mercedes like, who is this hoe up in my house? But it's clear that she does know what's going on. She knows what her husband wants. Whether she agrees with it or not, that's another conversation. But they got legal documents drawn up that Mercedes got to sign. She talking about some sign on page 56, 72, 31, sign on line 4, 5, 7, 8. And Mercedes is looking at Coach like, what the hell? And I mean, he looking at her like, well, you said you wanted my wife to be a part of this. So they end up sitting down and having a conversation. And Coach has to go take a phone call. And so the two of them get to talking. And, you know, she made a comment about Mercedes being one of his hoes. And she was like, I ain't no hoe. She was like, you're getting paid $10,000 a month plus a place to live to sleep with my husband. I'm not sure what you call that. And she was, you know, of course Mercedes was sitting there like, well, damn, I mean, when you put it like that. She said, but that's okay, because, I mean, at least you don't have to lay with him every night. You know, like, you getting off easy. So the coach comes back in, and something good happened with his player. And, you know, of course, Mercedes was like, oh, well, that's good, because, of course, she knows football and understands. And so she was like, oh, that's good, coach. So then she sees there's some pictures on the wall. She was like, who took these pictures? And he was like, oh, my wife, you know, she used to be a professional photographer. And she was like, I'm still a professional photographer. So Mercedes started talking about how great the photography was and explaining why the picture was so, what spoke to her about the picture and why the picture was so good. And she was like, nobody's ever described that picture like that before. And so they sort of bonded a little bit, but you could still see there was a little apprehension. So she was like, all right, well, I'm going to let y'all go ahead and have y'all fun. And Coach was like, nah, you got to stay, because you got to witness the Mercedes experience. Like, I need you to see why I need this. She was like, nah, I'm good. He was like, no, for real, you really got to stay and see it. So Mercedes does her thing. I mean, of course, listen, and it was absolutely wonderful, okay? Mercedes did her thing. Of course, her shoulder is still bothering her, and we saw her struggling, but she didn't fall, because for a minute, I was nervous that her ass was going to fall again, but she didn't fall. And baby, by the time it was over with, Coach wife was in love with Mercedes' ass too. Coach and Mercedes got the kissing and hugging and rubbing and dubbing. And next thing you know, old wife rolling, but, you know, she done took her clothes off, and she like, I want in. Put me in the game, Coach, okay? Now, Mercedes' phone kept ringing. And you could tell it was her. It was Jerica. The ringtone was a little, I don't know, some kiddie ringtone. It was totally breaking the mood. So the last time the phone rang, Mercedes actually answered it. And she was like, what is going on? Well, come to find out, Jerica then got pulled over by the popo. Remember the popo that used to go down to the paint that know Mercedes? He cool with her. He called her and he was like, listen, I got Jerica here, and Jerica mama is in the back seat, drunk, passed out, and somebody need to come and get her. It's either that or she going to jail. So Mercedes ended up having to leave to go get Jerica, because if not, Jerica ass was going to end up in jail. She gets back to I'm going to go ahead and just finish this out. She gets back to the house, and she is like trying to clean up old girl, Jerica's mama, and the two of them end up getting into it, and they basically end up telling, some of it we already knew that, Mercedes was underage when she hooked up with Jerica's daddy. Mercedes lied about her age because she was out there being fast. Her mama made her give him the baby. But what we found out was the reason why the mama was so adamant on Jerica never going back and living with Mercedes is because he made her promise that she would raise Jerica and take care of Jerica. Basically, he didn't trust Mercedes. He didn't trust that Mercedes was going to be, adult enough, be mama enough, be ready for the responsibility. And Mercedes didn't really press the issue because she was like, once I did get grown, she was like, well, you never gave me a chance. You never allowed me to try. Well, what we found out is that Jerica is listening to this whole conversation because they in the bathroom, child. She got her in the tub, washing her down in the tub, child. But we found out that Jerica actually heard the whole conversation, and she ends up confronting Mercedes later. And Mercedes is telling her, listen, I wanted you, but by the time I got to be grown, I was a dancer. She said there was no court in America that was going to leave you from this, this nice house, living this good life, and let you come live with a stripper. And Jerica was like, you always got an excuse. Like, you always have an excuse about why you didn't do what you needed to do, or why you didn't do what I needed you to do. Like, you always got a reason. And she's looking at her like, but it's the truth. Like, I love you and I wanted you, but how was I going to get you? So we definitely learned a little bit more in that situation. Now, after that, we go back on the road with we end up going back on the road with Murder and Mississippi, and they back at the hotel after the fight and everything happens. They back at the hotel, and we found out that Murder has actually been sending postcards from every city. He's actually been sending postcards from every city to Lil Murder, and Lil Murder is trying to figure out what to say to in his latest postcard, what to say to Uncle Clifford. He told me something. I mean, I guess I love you or whatever. And he was like, and Mercedes was like, how you gonna send somebody a postcard telling something? I guess I love you or whatever. And we find out that of course, Mercedes knows that it's Uncle Clifford, and Mercedes ends up telling him like, listen, just tell him how you feel. It ain't every day you find an Uncle Clifford. And so he was like, well, you think you think he would still want me? Like you think it could work? And he said, whatever happened to you? Like, why you not welcome at the Pank anymore? And she was like, because I wouldn't believe in the fairy tale. And, basically, because she wouldn't take a chance on Diamond and take a chance on that working out. And, of course, we know what happened. She pulled the gun on Diamond and, what happened, whatever. So, now, we find out that, the mayor's godson, he's still in town, still lying to his wife, making up excuses about why, he can't come back home. He talking about something, I can't leave till they read the will. Well, they done postpone the reading of the will. And the reality is, it's all a lie. You know what I mean? It's all a lie. He just staying in Chuckalisa trying to, get this whole deal with the Pank done. But we see him and Carla ended up talking, and they basically trying to figure out a plan where they could sort of usurp what's going on with the mayor's office. And they basically, he decided he gonna run for mayor. And Colin was like, I mean, if you decide to run for mayor, then I got you. Like, I'm with you. 50 grand on that, So they decided he gonna run for mayor. So that's gonna be a whole situation. Child, his wife will end up divorcing him. Because she said, my daddy got a job ready for you. And he was like, I ain't ready yet. And I'm like, okay, you ain't ready yet. Okay. Back down to the Pank, Roulette and the witch Hazel, cause child, I don't know what they got going on with her. They in the bathroom getting high. She talking all metaphysical, situations or whatever, and they about to open up their night down to the Pank. Baby, Uncle Clifford takes that stage, baby. Uncle Clifford worked that pole, honey. Uncle Clifford was doing his damn thing down to the Pank. I said, okay, Uncle Clifford, you more than just a lot of talk. You know what you doing too, cause baby, he worked that pole like he was like, I ain't gonna say he's as good as Mercedes and them, but he was doing his damn thing, doing the damn thing. In real life, whoever is the body double for Uncle Clifford in this scene, which he does have a body double, it's not him, it's somebody else. They did that. They did that, okay? Anyway, but we found out that there's a guy there that's actually asking for the stripper that gives head. Because remember what Roulette did at the beginning, so I'm like, see, Roulette gonna get herself caught up in some stuff she can't get out of, running around here giving some, sloppy toppy. Now, while that's going on, Big L, guess who shows up? Duffy shows up, and he got to hold another truckload, another shipment, and he is broken up about Gidget, child. He crying. He still miss Gidget. He's still trying to figure out how he can get Gidget back. He want to get Gidget back, whatever. Now, Roulette and old girl, Witch Hazel, they down to the club. They doing their thing, they doing their little double thing on the bars, and their, acrobats, their Cirque du Soleil act or whatever. And that damn Roulette done took her daggone shirt off. And, of course, Uncle Clifford is pissed off because he was like, that ain't what we do on the main stage. Like, we don't do that on the main stage at the Pank. And she was like, I'm sorry, Uncle Clifford. I just lost. I forgot where I was. I just got excited. But remember, she high as hell. But she is a proverbial line stepper. Like, she did it because and Uncle Clifford needed to check her in that moment because she's going to push the envelope. And she's going to keep pushing the envelope and keep pushing the envelope until she can't push it no more. And unfortunately, Later on in that episode, we saw her outside flirting with Duffy. Now, I think her and Duffy done already did a little something because they kind of cut away. So it doesn't show for certain whether they actually really did something or not. But I think they probably did. But if not, they on their way to doing it. But later on, at the end of the episode, she is, running a trick. And the trick drops her back off in front of the paint. And come to find out, she actually catches Duffy and Big L unloading them boxes of Oxy. So I was like, see, now she's got leverage. Whereas before, Uncle Clifford really need to fire her before she get him in trouble, and get the Pank in some trouble. But she ended up, now she got some leverage on Big L. So Big L is gonna be indebted to make sure she stay on the job, because remember, Uncle Clifford don't know they running that damn Oxy. So, Colin's brother then rolled down to Patrice's church, to Reverend Patrice's church, and he done shut the church down, talking about some she in violation of the COVID restrictions. And he was like, "How am I in violation of the COVID restrictions? Like, why? Like, you got the paint going on down there, but I'm in restriction." But of course, we know that's just retaliation about her showing her ass down to the pastor's fried chicken dinner, talking about she ain't going to support the casino. We know what that's about. So then we have this scene with Lil Murda and security, old boy they picked up from jail, and basically he talks about how, Lil Murda, he basically went in the hole for protecting Lil Murda. Lil Murda had got stabbed, and he pretty much killed the guy that stabbed Lil Murda, and he went into the hole. And basically, Lil Murda helped him get through by writing him rhymes and raps on little scraps of paper, and then made sure he got to him down in solitary. And even though they don't come right out and say that it was more to it than that, you definitely get the impression that it was more to it than that, right? So I'm like, this is going to get ugly. Okay? Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think. That's the episode, Down to the Paint. And I will talk to y'all later. Peace.